You're listening to Chugging Bleach, the only podcast where the bounce count.
Welcome to Chugging Bleach, the Bleach-related podcast on the GigaBoots Podcast Network, where we watch all of Bleach. That's what I keep saying, and I guess we're doing it. I'm here with my hosts, Dan Anime. That's it, right?
No, that's not a...
Anime Danime.
There we go. That is it. I have no catchy phrase to say this time. This set may have unplugged my life support.
Chris Wolfhart.
I give you a new title, Bob. You are now Bob Video Games.
Wait, I did that the other time.
And Dr. Aggro.
Like you forgot or something.
I realized I didn't want the in there, and then I was like, well, I gotta just restart the whole thing.
You know what? I didn't watch the Bound Arc. How about that?
Good for you.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. I guess this is how I deal with trauma, because the further we get away from it, the funnier it becomes.
Yes.
Or Chris, I gotta ask, when you give Bob the title of Bob, is it like the ending of Metal Gear Solid 3? You're pinning a medal on him. There's a bear rug somewhere.
Bob killed a bunch of people he loves, and so I could have a bunch of money. So he gets the title of Bob.
That's how it works.
Chris Wolfhart as CIA cuck.
This time we covered episodes 125 through 129.
But if you want to cover your needs for entertainment and getting podcasts early, Chris Wolfhart, do you know where they can do that?
Yes, they can do that at our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get early access to this show, Chugging Bleach. And in fact, if you're listening to this on YouTube, there is another episode waiting for you on the Patreon. If you just give us $5, you can have early access to it. And every month, also early access to Pokemon Go to the Movies, another podcast we have where we review every Pokemon movie. As well, extended versions of other shows we do when the format of those shows forces us to leave ideas on the floor, and a patron-exclusive show, one a month, where you get to vote on what good or bad thing we have to watch and then talk about. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. And of course, if you don't have any money, telling your friends always helps immensely. This is a shonen series after all. The power of friendship is really, ultimately, the strongest magic there is.
I really like telling people about the amazing content we have over on Patreon, but I swear, every time I tell a AAA protagonist it, they're like, it's right behind that paywall, isn't it?
Jesus. Chris, if you will take us through these episodes starting at 125.
Starting at 127. I think that's the best way. We'll work backward from there.
Yes, just pick it up.
Okay. We're starting at 125. Here is where I am making an executive decision.
Okay.
I will no longer mention when there is 3 minutes of recap. I will only mention when there is not 3 minutes of recap.
The only time I write notes for recap is 2 words. Soul Reapers. That's all I ever write anymore.
I can't believe it always starts like that.
But normally I keep track, but I'm just telling people, unless I say it's not there, assume it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a shonen series this far in. Of course it is.
You know how much time you just save over the next 4.5 years of running this show?
A minute per episode at least.
There you go.
But we open on Ichigo still in his mental fight dimension, but Kenpachi's here. Bob was right last time when he said they would do Kenpachi after Jinkaria.
Woo!
I
Thank
think
God.
it's great that cutoff tricked Aggro to thinking Kenpachi would never be.
And it's abrupt. Like they realized, oh, fuck, no, we need him here. This doesn't make sense.
Everyone hated this.
Kenpachi and Ichigo are fighting in the Big Think dimension, the second level of the Big Think dimension. The Vizards continue to fight the Hollow Ichigo, who's becoming more and more monster-like. Love Star Afro Vizard is fighting currently, and we've looped back around to when Lisa, the glasses girl, will have to take her turn again. Lisa's like, how long did it take? What is the longest it took one of us to figure out how to control the Hollow? And they're like, it was Hiyori. She took 69 minutes. Nice. Ichigo's at 68 minutes. So the implication is like he's going to be past the point of no return soon, and we got to kill him. So he better fucking figure this out. Ichigo still hasn't fucking figured out what is going on, and it's like, Kenpachi, I already fought you. What?
Studio applause.
Which is made even stupider by the fact that there was the Jinkaria scene, so he has one additional layer of this in the anime to figure shit out.
Right. And this time, and that was to someone who is dead.
And Kenpachi says sword fights should always be to the death and you don't need a reason to fight to the death. And he says, Ichigo, you also want to fight and you crave power. He gives Ichigo the most meat-headed chicken or the egg question ever, where it's like, do people fight to become stronger? Or do they become stronger to fight? And then he says, you can't change the way you're born. However you're born is the way you are forever. Never improve, Ichigo. If you're a violent dipshit when you're born, you should always be a violent dipshit forever.
Why is everyone laughing? This seems like sound advice.
Kenpachi sure is a dude.
He then tells Ichigo he has to fight to control his power, and we see tons of old screenshots sinking into a black background so they can save some money. He then wakes up in the first level, the first layer of the Big Think Dimension, and retakes his sword from Hollow Ichigo. Meanwhile, outside, Outer Ichigo is charging a Sero to blast love, and he's charging it with like 2 fingers like he's doing the fucking special beam cannon.
Yeah.
But then he starts like exploding and screaming. And inside the Big Think Dimension, Ichigo stabs Holly Ichigo, and Holly Ichigo melts while saying, you may have won this time, but if you give me even the slightest opening, I'll come back and stomp your skull.
Yeah, it was pretty good. He was just like, one piece of advice, just don't die. And then left the anime for now.
He literally says, don't die until the next time we meet. Then Outer Ichigo explodes and the hollified Ichigo falls off him like a cocoon, leaving Visor
It's
Ichigo.
like a cardboard standee in front of him. Yeah, it's so hilarious looking. I can't believe
I
it.
was like, man, we got to get these fucking cardboard stand-ins for us.
Mashiro says some shit that I forgot, but she calls Ichigo Berry, but only in the subs, because his name is Strawberry.
Yeah, she had some other nickname in the English version.
It changes because for some reason they have a problem with these verbal tics in the dub. They're like, no, the verbal tics are stupid. I'm like, no, they aren't. Stop it. Hirako asks Ichigo how he feels, and Ichigo's like, I feel pretty good, actually. And then Hirako shows his giant fucking teeth to the camera.
Yeah, it's really good.
We briefly flash back to what we just saw, because this is the Bleach anime.
Yes.
Then we cut to Orihime, and she's bemoaning that Ichigo hasn't shown up to school in a while and is moping. And we get this insane 3D shot of the ground as she looks at it. She then says, Tatsuki's also been depressed. I'll invite her to see something interesting. And her examples are ice cream on rice, skewered and grilled donuts. I assume they must have some weird sauce on them, because otherwise that wouldn't be weird. And a big block of yokon on an iron plate, which she calls yokon steak. Then an NPC interrupts her and asks her about the people, parentheses, Rangiku and Hitsugai, that are staying with her. They brought in a giant evil organ OLED?
Yeah, they got the organ OLED. It's, man. Soul Society Best Buy is weird.
It's really one of those things where you turn to your partner and go, are we the baddies?
I did say that literally about Soul Society during the Bound arc. Orihime thinks it's cool, and then what? Like, wait, this isn't my house. It isn't cool at all. They're calling R&D, or rather through R&D, to Yamamoto. Yamamoto has called them because he figured out what Aizen is after.
What was his true plan?
Hopefully it's a little more clear than certain other plans.
Orihime wants to excuse herself, but Yamamoto says, oh no, you need to hear this. It's relevant to you. We get yet another reveal that the Bound arc was just stealing something from the manga at the time, because they're like, Ukitake and Kyoraku were investigating the archive.
Yep.
To find some information about what's going on. So they got some relevant data, and it revealed that Aizen wants the Oken.
Oh my
The
God.
Oken being the royal key.
What?
It's a royal key that lets you get to the royalty of Soul Society. The king is called the Soul King, and he lives in a different dimension separate from Soul Society.
Jesus Christ.
I forgot any of this was introduced so early.
Oh yeah, this is what I remember.
Aizen wants to find him and kill him, but they can't get the key. But Aizen actually got the data to make a key. And to make a key, you need 100,000 sacrifices and a spiritually powerful place to forge it. Which, of course, the spiritually powerful place is Karakura Town.
Of course.
So Aizen wants to nuke Karakura Town. and Yamamoto is aware that Orihime is dumb, so he just explains what he just said. And he's like, they're gonna kill everyone. This also feels like sort of a Bount arc repeat of the Jokai Crest shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Yamamoto's like, it is our job to stop him, so we will, even if there isn't a way to stop him. Then he says it's going to take 4 months for Aizen to be able to do anything, so we have to do a training arc.
Yeah,
Which is-
he basically looks at the camera and says it.
Yeah, it's so weird because it's like, but he's already making he's already making Arankar, not Bounce. So clearly, you guys don't have his schedule right at all.
Well, it's not full power yet.
Sure.
Bob,
Yeah.
it has been a struggle to every time that I have to write a Bleach proper noun to not write Bount.
This is what true damage looks like.
Right.
We take an eternal soul damage. But getting back to the episode, at least we know Aizen's plan now. But what about Jinkaria's?
I can't wait until Aizen's about to execute his plan and Jinkaria appears behind him.
Fucking Jinkaria grabs the blade mid-combat.
He makes the key.
He makes the key out of Aizen.
Yes.
Yamamoto's like, Hitsugaya, someone wants to talk to you, and it's Momo.
Yeah.
Hitsugaya Simp, who was Aizen's lieutenant. But before that happens, we cut to Chad and Renji sparring for who gets to be the biggest jobber, I guess.
Yeah, it's a fucking job fair out here.
Then we cut to Ishida doing whatever the fuck he's doing with Ryukin, his dad. And then we cut to Orihime wandering around trying to find Ichigo like Yamamoto told her to. And instead of the illustrated guide to Soul Reapers, we have the Arankar Encyclopedia.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's very civilized.
Ichimaru Gin will teach you about Arankar. An Arankar is a hollow that's lost its math. You don't know if they'll be hot or not until it comes off. And then Aizen says, that's what makes it interesting.
Aizen's really into gotcha.
Yes.
Episode 126. We open on extremely macro blocked and bit crushed Momo. Open the first image, please.
Is that what this image is for? You can hear the mic is just partially disconnected, and she's like, "It's me."
Is that your Kira?
No, it's me.
Actually, the opening of this was Soul Reapers.
Yes, but as we established, no mention unless no happen. So Momo and Hitsugaya have a really awkward conversation while we see his inner monologue about her. She apologizes for ever believing Aizen. Hitsugaya tells her to stop worrying about it and then lightly abuses her because he's tsundere. He's like, you're clearly exhausted and need to sleep or you'll be small forever and you'll need to sleep for at least 10 years to have tits as fat as Rangiku's. And then she yells at him. She calls him a manlet and then he responds by going, that's Captain Manlet.
Yeah.
And here's where I noticed that his shirt has 46 on it, which is his height, 4'6".
Oh
That's
my
not even a joke.
God.
That's how tall the character's supposed to be.
I was wondering if the 46 had any meaning. Jesus Christ.
Too smart.
You know, something I noticed about Momo, she looks like she just came from a Banjo-Kazooie death dream.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. Hinamori asks if he's gonna fight Aizen. Is like, are you gonna kill Aizen? And it's like, no, Ichigo will because he's the protagonist.
No, Hitsugai's got this. They make a movie out of Hitsugai. He's totally got this.
But then Hinamori like starts to mentally collapse, and she starts begging him to save Aizen because it must have been Gin who's the mastermind and is forcing him to do all this and controlling them. She like starts having convulsing and having an episode, and then faints. And Yamamoto's like, damn, that bitch is crazy. And then he hangs up.
Yeah, I think that Yamamoto's putting her to sleep with his hand.
Oh, yeah, that was good. He was just like, sleep.
What if his many powers?
You didn't see the Green Goblin gas?
His pimp hand is that strong.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, he could probably get enough spirit energy. Let's be honest. Like, it's kind of absurd.
We cut back to Chad and Renji. They're still fighting. Renji's being kind of an asshole because for once he isn't on the bottom of the competency totem pole. Again, this feels like a thing that the Bound arc stole with Ichigo having to train with Renji in the basement. We flash back a little and Renji asks why he has to help train Chad. The mod souls say some things because I didn't write it down because I hate them.
We can't escape.
Renji asks Urahara why he can't do it, and Urahara's like, Chad needs to fight a Bankai. And Renji says, just fucking do it yourself. And then Urahara feigns uselessness, and Renji like spits everywhere in fury at what a pathetic lie that is, and like spits all over the mod souls. They get soaked.
Yeah, he's spitting rice everywhere. It's fucking gross.
And they don't explicitly say this, but it feels pretty obvious that Urahara is like, well, Renji's Bankai is only like half a Bankai, so it's a good place for Chad to start.
Yes.
Yeah, that was savage.
Ginta then calls Renji a useless freeloader, and that Urahara should do it because Renji is so incompetent he could never be helpful to anyone. And then Ururu says she agrees, and they start laughing at him.
A completely fair response, yes.
So I really like being like the part where Urahara is told, hey, you should do some work. And he goes, me, I'm just a pervert. Like, what kind of fucking response is that?
I'm sorry, I'm too busy being weird.
Come on.
Urahara then explains, he becomes briefly serious and says that his Bankai isn't very good for training or helping anyone. Then he says, if you help me train Chad and do other chores for 3 months, I'll answer any questions you have. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure Renji has great fucking questions. I'm sure he's going to roll up and be like, Urahara, why is the third hand on a clock the second hand?
Urahara, was this his true plan?
I seriously don't know who Jinkaria is. Why do you keep saying that name?
We get some reused footage of Chad and Renji sparring. They use the exact same animation they used earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Chad dodges the Bankai and tries to drop a cliff on Renji. Renji dodges and loops the snake back around him. And Urahara says that Chad can definitely get stronger and that his power is different from a Soul Reaper or even a Quincy. Then we cut to visored Ichigo screaming, and Hiyori starts pummeling him. They're training too.
Everybody's training.
I think his training is just being repeatedly kicked in the face by Hiyori, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Orihime has found the Vizard's base and notes that all living things are avoiding the warehouse because there's a barrier there. She says it's just like her Scrunko shield, though, so she can go through. Meanwhile, Ichigo puts on the hollow mask and starts fighting Hiyori. He gets kicked a bunch and told that he's too fucking slow. This training is to extend the amount of time Ichigo can have the mask out, because right now it's only 4 seconds. Mashiro, who is the girl who looks like Mei Lee from King of Fighters, says she didn't need to do this. Then Kinsei, like the soldier-looking guy with the combat knife, Zanpakuto, says she's a liar. And then Hirako says, no, that's true. She's a genetic freak who could keep the mask on for 15 hours by default. Hachi then says he sent someone to go through the barrier. Everybody is freaking out that someone got through the barrier since Vizards or Soul Reapers wouldn't be able to get through. Orihime shows up and is awkward and asks where the bathroom is and then says that was a joke. And the Vizards all act like dipshits in response.
Yep.
That is their lot in life.
We cut ahead to Orihime explaining everything to Ichigo, and he almost literally says, I'm too stupid to understand that. All I know is I guess I have to hit Aizen real hard.
Right.
Like Goku?
Like he's like, oh, I guess it hasn't sunk in yet. And I'm like, just tell her you don't care.
Orihime enters like a delusional inner monologue where she pretends Ichigo has hidden depths and isn't just vapid and stupid.
I don't get it. There's nothing larger going on here. It's like he's going to blow up the town. There's not some crazy extra layer to this.
Ichigo was so placid when I told him this. He seemed so muted, and he's like, Kapachi in my brain told me I think too much.
The Vizards gossip about Orihime, and Hiraku does some bullshit and is like, she was my first love. And everyone says Hirako says that about every woman, and including Lisa says he said that about me. Then Hiyori gets mad that he never said that to her, and he looks away and is like, no shit, Snaggletooth.
Yeah, no, that was really good. That's because I didn't. Snaggletooth.
Love asks Hachi how Orihime got through his barrier, and he says he doesn't know, but he thinks she might have similar barrier powers. They really emphasize how weird that it is that a human has this power.
They do that, yes.
Yep.
Then Yoruichi shows up to talk to Orihime. Urahara wanted to talk to her, so she's the fucking gopher, I guess. Then we cut to Ishida. He's still just dodging arrows, and he falls off a cliff and uses some grenades to negate the fall somehow.
Yeah, that was some shit. I want that tech in a Call of Duty.
Ryukin continues to talk shit at him while he dodges the arrow. Ishida's running out of gas and has to strike soon. He waits until he has an opening and uses like a coffin grenade to seal Ryukin in like a Iron Maiden shaped thing. But Ryukin just breaks out and shoots him and he collapses unconscious.
Yeah, it's like instant.
Like, okay, I haven't really watched much of the anime. Have they done this before? Where they just start drawing Uryu like ripped as shit.
No, this is the first time he's been absolutely shredded like this.
He has gone from math rock to metalcore, and it's disturbing.
I agree.
I feel like this is the first time we've seen him shirtless, so I always just contextualize this. Yeah, I guess he was that ripped. That just makes sense.
No,
Like,
I
he's that
feel
one
like
guy from Angel Beats.
He's definitely he was definitely always ripped. He's like a Yu-Gi-Oh villain where they seem normal and then they take off their shirt and are insanely jacked.
It's just like fucking front of the romance novel overwrought. Like, what the fuck did you do to his design?
But Ryukin explains to no one because Ishida is fucking unconscious.
Yes.
He explains that the only way to give Ishida his powers back was to exhaust him and then shoot him in a specific spot 1.9 centimeters away from the heart.
yes.
And then he basically says, "You might have done something if you had set off a grenade in my face, but you're a cuck who tried to non-lethally incapacitate me. But I guess I'll let it slide." That's the end of the episode. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers, not golden.
Not golden.
Sad.
Renji is sweeping. Urahara says he has to get the sweeping done before Chad is rested and can fight some more. The Mod Souls talk and Uru and Ginta call Renji stupid. That's it.
Hooray.
We got so much out of that.
127. We don't have to deal with the recap. We only get a tiny bit of the previous episode. There is no Soul Reapers.
No, there isn't. That's next time.
We open on Ikaku. He's wearing a ridiculous shirt with hearts and polka dots and a pink teddy bear. Yumichika is ragging on him and Ikaku headbutts him. Rangiku shows up and also starts ragging on him. And they're like, "How'd you get in?" And she's like, "I just walked in."
Not very good security around here.
I'm Rangiku, bitch.
Breaking Entry is my middle name.
Ikaku then says he's wearing the shirt because Keigo's sister gave it to him, and since he's living there for free, it'd be rude not to just wear whatever she fucking gives me. And then Rangiku says she like cranks up the caucasity to maximum and says, "Really, I'd complain about anything regardless of the circumstances." That's the second image. You can unspoiler that, please.
Now I was like, yep, I've known that person.
Yeah.
I complain about shit all the time, and Orihime just deals with it.
Like, what the fuck?
I hate her so much.
Yeah, she is awful.
Well, thank God, we don't have to spend a ton of time with Rangiku.
Like, I remember from the last batch of episodes, I'm like, man, like I remember Rangiku. I don't remember fucking jobbing this hard. Wait, I don't remember her ever doing anything cool at all. Wait, did Rangiku suck?
There was some sort of distortion field that made me not notice.
She killed that guy last time. That was pretty impressive. Yumichika and Ikaku were like, "This fucking bitch," to each other with like their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Then Keigo shows up and sees boobs and is just activated. It's like,
Yes.
like red LEDs in his eyes flick on. It's go time. He dives at her tits and she throws like a fucking overhead crane kick at him, but he blocks it and like slides across the floor of the apartment. Then he quotes Saint Seiya.
Is that what he did?
What?
Yes, because the thing that they say all the time in Saint Seiya is the same technique will never work on a saint
that's
twice.
Right. Fuck. I forgot.
I knew that had to be from something. Jesus.
But while he's saying that, she just slams her foot into his face while he's talking.
It's really good.
Ikaku and Yumichika are like, "This fucking violent woman." Keigo's sister shows up and just starts screaming at Rangiku.
Yeah, she thinks it's on her house at first because there couldn't possibly be another woman there.
Yeah, no, that was really good. Just 100% sold on, oh, sorry, wrong house.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. What the fuck are you doing here?
Just goes full on violent chihuahua.
Yes.
Yep.
God. Now, with that information from last week of how Keigo might have become a more relevant character, I'm imagining him getting Saint Seiya powers. Would have been a good arc.
That would have been good.
Urahara greets Orihime. We cut to that. Then he's like, oh, Orihime, it's so glad I've been doing nothing but watching sweaty men, so it's so nice to have a woman around. Then Yoruichi's like, so I don't count as a woman? And then Urahara recovers stunningly well for such a dipshit he is. He's like, well, I mean down here. I mean up there, you always make my shop have such a feminine charm. And Yoruichi is like exasperated that his answer was as good as it was and is like, I'm just going to go. I don't even get to be upset. You disarmed it. Chad and Renji are still fighting. Chad gets owned really hard. The mod souls say shit that doesn't matter.
As usual.
I hate them so much.
At some point, Chad's yes, I do too.
You've only just started dealing with them.
So Chad's voice actor changed from whoever it was originally, I forget their name, to Jamieson Price.
Yes.
He's given up and is now just doing Tager.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's probably for the best because he was no Chad.
No.
Chad's voice is very different.
I was figuring I was hearing it different.
Yeah.
They show the mod souls again. Stop showing the mod souls.
Yeah.
Chad puts his cool arm back on and attacks Renji, and then Renji literally catches him with the end of his Bankai, whips him around the entire arena, and drives him through a fucking mountain. It's like, I don't know, dude. Maybe dial it down a notch when he's already pummeled. Orihime's like, oh, right. Urahara wanted something. What is it? Rangiku came and told Urahara about the Oken. Urahara says everyone needs to prepare for battle because it's going to be an all-out war where tons of people will die. Everybody needs to get stronger. Orihime thinks about Ichigo via reused footage and then says she'll get stronger too. Chad's still getting pummeled by Renji. Urahara then is like, Orihime, you're a girl in a shonen series. You need to sit this one out.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
Can't attack. You can't attack at all because Tsubaki was destroyed. There's already people to heal everyone, and they can fight too. There isn't anything for you here. And Chad tries to defend her, but Urahara's like, no, she needs to stay the fuck out of it. And then Orihime's like, oh, it's okay. But you can tell her soul is crushed. It's like you can actually pinpoint the moment her heart was ripped in half. Let me rewind. And she runs off to cry, and then Renji's like, well, it's right. Women should stay in the kitchen. That's what he meant, but that's not what he said. He said something much more tactful.
I think it's really funny that this coming from Renji because it is something like, oh, she wasn't suited for battle. It's like, dude, you're the guy who got beat by not being able to attack more than 3 times in a row. You don't need to be talking.
Stop showing the mod souls.
Never.
Preach.
Orihime runs through the fucking loading screen as it like shows her first person shot of her like going up the stairs and tries to leave the shop, but she runs into Rukia. They go to the roof of the school for Orihime to cry.
Because she starts crying and Rukia is like, I don't know how to deal with this at all. And so there's an implied like 20 minutes where they walk to the school because Rukia is not going to hug her. She does not know how to deal with these human emotions. So she just wanders off and Orihime follows her and they end up there.
Everybody keeps saying that Orihime did a lot in Soul Society, but she really didn't. And then Rukia tells her to be honest with herself and Orihime starts like bawling because she really wants to help, but she can't. And she's like, I don't want to be left by myself and alone, but being a burden on everyone would be worse. And then Rukia says, well, weak people aren't burdens. Those without resolve are. And then she says, nobody who went to Soul Society was a burden, and then like creepily strokes Orihime's face. And says if even one of them hadn't been there, they wouldn't have been able to save her, which I don't remember specifics enough to fact check.
Yeah, I feel like that's untrue, but it would only be solved by rewatching all of the Bleach I've watched so far.
That's all.
Then Hiyori drops from the sky, grabs Orihime, and says Hachi wants to talk to her, and then they go to space.
It was so good!
And Ruki's like, I don't even know who you are. What is happening?
Do I need to save you?
We're back in the Vizard's training room. Hiyori brought Orihime. Ichigo tries to talk, but Hiyori hits him, and they immediately begin fighting. Hachi looms over her because he's gigantic.
This dude is like giant Oni huge. Like fucking enormous.
It's like, hello, my name is Hachi Inoshoda. And then he like starts to squeeze her head with 2 fingers and like almost twist it off.
Yeah. Like, no, Lenny, no.
Yes. It's like, Your hairpins are a lot like a Zanpakuto. Do you want me to fix it for you? And then Kensei's like, dude, let go of her head. Meanwhile, Mashiro's throwing a temper tantrum over some shit in the fucking background. It doesn't matter. Alucard is like, Hachi's probably excited to meet someone with similar powers to himself because we always want to meet someone who's similar to ourselves. And Ichigo and Hiyori continue to train.
they just sound like chihuahuas in the corner barking at each other.
Hachi summarizes the situation and Orihime says he's wrong, but it isn't. His summary is exact.
Yeah, I don't.
So I don't understand.
Yeah,
I guess she's doing a thing of
maybe-
like, no, I'm not actually butthurt about it.
Yeah, I felt like I was losing my mind there. I was like, how is that not an accurate summary? Did I miss something?
It sounded like a dub improv joke. I just no
Okay,
idea.
all right.
It was in the subs too, though.
Yeah.
Because I watched with the sub track on.
Yeah,
The dub
then
team's
Hachi
like,
says
just say
that-
what they said. We don't get it either.
Then Hachi says if Orihime has powers like his, she should be able to fix this easily. But then he fixes it for her, and Tsubaki shows back up, and Orihime starts like doing the Elmira shit to him.
Yeah.
He's like, was I dead? I don't have a soul. Where was I?
Oh God, I didn't even consider that. Hachi then says that if Orihime is like him, he says Orihime is like him, she's unsuited for fighting and she should sit out. But she says she still wants to fight, and Hachi explains, well, you haven't mastered your own powers yet. There should still be a way for you to get stronger. Then she leaves.
I'm gonna take a nap.
I hate that your voice is accurate.
I know, right?
Rukia somehow tracked her. I don't know how that worked because the point was supposed to be that you couldn't fucking get it. Another bout thing!
Oh.
Where their base is, you can't sense spiritual pressure from their base.
I think that you could be like, well, she tracked Hiyori's spiritual pressure till here because Ruki
Yeah,
is
I
not
guess
a
that makes
buffoon
sense.
like other people.
Yeah. So I did it with competence.
Yeah, I have basic competence. Rukia knows Ichigo is in there and he's probably in there training, but tells Orihime they should go. Orihime inner monologues about how she's going to get stronger for sure and help Ichigo this time. Sure thing, sweetie.
Uh-huh.
That seems like this is where the episode should end, but we cut to Hueco Mundo. Ulquiorra is walking down the iPod hallway. Yami is being patched up by some girl. The arm Ichigo cut off has been stitched back on. Yami's bitching about it taking so long, and Ulquiorra is like, You're lucky it could be reattached, or we'd have to kick you down to jobber tier with the dude with the zipper teeth. And then the nurse is like, does your arm work now? So he splatters her against the wall and is like, this sucks. She should have been turned into little giblets.
Yeah, they also reveal that he's number 10, so he's basically his jobber class already.
Yeah, he's barely relevant at all. Yami then copes and seethes. Meanwhile, Aizen watches like a fan cam of Orihime and creeps on her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was some formative energy for later projects.
The Arrancar Encyclopedia. Gene explains that he says, I'm going to explain all the Arrancar techniques. Ganzui lets you eat souls quickly. Pesquisa senses things. Sonido makes you move fast. And Sero is a highly destructive beam attack. Then he shows you how to spell them all on a board. And then Yami shows up hard and says, I can't read.
and then he's just like,
Oh,
you make
no.
a very good point. You can't read. God, if Yami sounded like Strong Mad, that would be really good.
Yes.
Episode 128. Ichigo's still training with Hiyori and getting knocked around. He's getting rinsed by this snaggletooth little freak.
Oh, wait, Soul Reaver.
Mashiro, Hiraku, and Kensei are watching and talking about how Ichigo sucks ass and has made no progress whatsoever.
Yes.
Oh, what was it, 0.5 seconds?
Yes. We cut to Ichigo's house. Yuzu is crying, and Karen's like, just forget Ichigo exists. He'll show up eventually. It doesn't matter. Ishin gives this big, dumb speech about how he used to go out and cause trouble and how Ichigo must just be trying to get laid.
Yo,
Yes.
manly things at the ocean?
Right?
Oh, good.
I like that his flashbacks also to like an era that doesn't even make sense.
I also love that, like, what he says in the original script, like in the sub, is like something that I don't get at all. So in the dub, he just yells, I'm a man at the ocean repeatedly. It kills me.
Karin says, Yuzu, nothing our dad ever says matters, so just stop worrying about Ichigo and just work. He does fine on his own. Then Ishin is also coping about Rukia not coming home and crying about how he misses his third daughter, and Karen punches him in the mouth.
Good.
And explains that Rukia is just staying with Orihime. Then all the Soul Reapers other than Renji are talking in a park. Ikaku and Yumichika are dressed like a gay couple. They're like serious metrosexual mode in this.
Yeah.
And they talk about how all of us need to get stronger. And the Ikaku says, "Well, I'll be fine, but Rangiku is screwed."
Like,
Then Rangiku says, "Well, instead of training, I'm gonna go shopping."
And then the makeover theme song from Clone High started playing.
Pretty much, and we get a montage of her trying on all these clothes because Kubo won't be denied even if it's an anime. She tries on like 8 outfits. The clerk is being crushed, holding them all up, and she's like, "I know which one to pick," and she buys them all.
You know, worth noting, these outfits are better than the ones that are in the ending. Because we got that new ending. And in that ending, they were the most, these aren't good enough outfits.
She has decided she has not bought enough and goes into an accessory store.
Because Soul Reapers do be shopping.
Yes, Rangiku's be shopping.
And finds an ominous looking ocarina and wants to buy it. She gives the clerk 10,000 yen and he has to leave the store to make change?
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I thought he just took the bill and ran.
I'm like, dude, that's only $100. You still need a job.
right. I've seen this sort of situation where a clerk does need to leave to get changed because the situation is dire at that store.
Right? Like, that may have been the last straw.
Right. Like, I've seen that. So I get it, but it is a weird thing to have here.
She blows into the ominous ocarina, and here's where I realize we're stuck in a filler episode.
No, we're stuck in Dragon Ball Z, Wrath of the Dragon.
That's the one with the ocarina.
Oh,
thank you for that.
Hey, you didn't have to review it. I'm watching repeats.
So she blows into the ocarina, and conveniently, as soon as she does, she picks up a holo on her holo radar. Everybody else does too, but they're like, Rangiku's closest, fuck her. And just go to do something else.
We're like, Hollows, the basic enemy of this show. We stopped giving a shit about those like 20 episodes ago.
Rangiku pouts and escapes her body. Her mod soul is all seductive, and in Japanese ends the sentences with beishi, which is the onomatopoeia for a karate chop.
okay.
The clerk gets back, and the mod soul in her body immediately starts trying to seduce him. When Rangiku gets to the holo, she can't find it, but it starts exploding things at the playground they're at. A dead kid gets thrown at her like a plus, not like a corpse. Like they have the chain and need to be purified and sent to Soul Society. Then a big holo appears, and the kid says he's gonna kick the holo's ass and runs at it. And Rangiku's like, "What the fuck are you doing, child?" But she tries to flash step to get to the holo, but it dodges her. Rangiku lands a hit and is like, "This has insane spiritual pressure. It must be an Arrancar."
What is this pressure? That's the power of filler, baby.
Yeah.
The holo tells her to get lost so it can eat the kid, and his mouth opens to show the eyes, and the kid keeps talking shit. And Rangiku takes the kid and runs, and Ikaku just shows up with his spear and one-shots it.
Yeah.
Yep. Because, it's an incredibly low-ranking holo Arrancar thing, and it should die immediately. What was any of this about?
Mm-hmm.
Hitsugai and Yumichika also show up, and Hitsugai scolds Rangiku for being incompetent. The kid laughs at her for getting scolded, and she suffocates him in her tits for a little while.
At least the filler team's having fun.
And then they talk about how this must be part of Aizen's plan. So we're now going into Aizen's plan. Is it his plan? Rangiku says she'll console the kid, but Hitsugaya wants to question him first. And then the kid laughs at Hitsugaya for being small, and he's like, maybe we should console him. But we then cut to the mod soul in Rangiku's body making out with the clerk. Rangiku and everybody shows up right as she's like about to jump on his dick. Yeah. But then she gets back in the Gigai, and when he tries to continue making out with her, she punches him, which hardly seems fair. He didn't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to Soul Society, and Uhitake is now involved in this filler episode for research purposes. That seems to be his job in filler.
Doesn't he just put the other actual researcher on the phone?
I think that's later.
Oh, maybe. God.
Everyone goes to Orihime's house to question the kid. Orihime is gone. She is no longer in her own home. She has been banished.
She's too busy wandering around.
He calls Yumichika old, and Yumichika starts to have a fucking episode over it. He calls Ikaku bald, and Ikaku starts choking him. Rangiku's like, "Don't worry, we'll send you to Soul Society, and it's authoritarian feudal Japan shithole where you'll have to live in a slum unless you're really strong by birthright and can live in a slightly nicer place and work for the military dictatorship."
Are we the good guys?
Kid's like, "I can't go because I have something to do," and then we flash back to 4 minutes ago and get no new information. Apparently the Iron Car is summoned by the whistling.
Yeah, all I could think of is that DBZ movie. I'm so damaged.
I don't think that they even, I don't think the characters even realized it, but it's super obvious to the audience.
It's fucking apparent.
Yeah.
I
Stop.
The more of this filler we watched, I was like, oh God, this is real. And this lasts more than an episode. Oh God.
Yeah, this is the moment where I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be resolved. We're in a mini filler arc.
Yeah, I was it was getting a little rough when everyone's like, okay, then we will each have our own training arc for months straight. I was like, oh, this is worrying. And then this happened, and I'm like, they unplugged my life support. I'm dead now. I'm fucking dead, man.
Yeah, really bad memories came back.
To really cement that we're in filler, they have one of those filler conversations where it's just a minute of everybody saying, "Stay on guard. I'm going to stay on guard. Are you going to stay on guard? I'm going to stay on guard."
While I'm on guard, you're also going to be on guard, right?
They don't console the kid because who knows? They go to sleep without Orihime in her house. Like, Orihime has now been kicked out of her own home for this filler arc.
Well, she's in the canon house.
Oh, okay.
They're parallel, like Dracula's castle. This is the upside down Orihime house.
It's like how the Soul King lives in a different dimension.
Well, while they're sleeping, the kid steals Rangiku's sword and runs. Rangiku catches him, and they bicker, and she yanks his cheek and teaches him how to apologize for doing bad things. And she's like, the kid's like, I need to find. There's somebody I'm trying to meet, and then they bicker a little bit, and he's like, and she forces him to tell her his name, and his name is Shota because of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then they hear that whistling again and a laugh sound, and the episode ends. The Arankar Encyclopedia. An Arankar's power is sealed away in the form of a sword. Releasing it returns the Arankar to their true form. Gin tries to reveal Grimjow's, but he shows up and mopes that he hasn't gotten to use it yet. And they're like, who should we send to keep him from using it next time?
Also, he has his other arm in this.
You're right.
Yeah, Grimjow has 2 arms.
He's like a newt. Episode 129. Rangiku senses the same energy as the Arankar from before.
No, you don't.
She tells Shota. Sorry, Dan, we have to. This is what you signed up for.
Rangiku's like, I sense the same energy, and I'm in bed. Like, shut up, go to sleep.
Quick, Rangiku, go not be able to defeat this hollow for some reason.
It's just like the filler is outside the window, and it's like, oh, go away, you freak. I'm so sick of this.
I'm so sick of this shit.
She tells Shota to leave, but he's like, no. He says no, and then Rangiku's like, well, there might be multiple of them around, so I better not. So I better keep him near me. Then we cut to a dead guy, like another plus, running down the road carrying his work briefcase, even in death. What a cuck.
Well, he doesn't know.
That's true.
I think he does.
Usually they're pretty unaware of being dead.
He's being chased by an Arankar, identical to the shitty one from the last episode. The guy starts to like walk towards it while begging it to stop, so I guess it can control the guy's movement.
Right.
Rangiku arrives and is like, what the hell? This is filler. This is the exact same thing as last episode. Then she just stands there and lets him eat this guy. Like, he doesn't even try.
Fuck.
It's so like the head bite is just.
They almost.
She limply goes, "Let him go," as his like legs are dangling out of its mouth.
One shoe sticking out of the mouth, and she's like, "Come on, man."
There is so much of Soul Reapers just not giving a fuck in this filler.
Yeah, in filler, this junk happens. They do not let this stuff happen in the regular show. How does it lead over like this? I don't get it. Like,
I'm so tired.
why?
How could they do this to me?
The Arrancar cackles and glows with energy and basically ignores all the questions Rangiku throws at it. It then stands on its hind legs and Shota starts throwing rocks at it, so it spits out a fucking Saro at him, and he gets shot like 100 feet before Hitsugai shows up and catches him.
Well, it's worth remembering that Hyper Beam was a lot stronger back then.
That's true. Then Hitsugai basically looks at her and is like, "Come on, woman, you killed a real one of these 4 episodes ago."
Yeah, Rangiku won't even like unleash your sword. Like that doesn't happen in the filler.
Rangiku knocks it down and Hitsugaya says they're gonna take it alive?
Right? Like he just declared, we win.
Then it starts laughing, and a third one and a fourth one, and then like a dozen of them show up. And it's like, you remember that really old internet meme? Like by old, I mean like 2004, where like the inverse ninja law, where ninjas are powerful in inverse proportion to how many of them there are at once.
Yeah.
That seems to apply to this thing, because once there's several dozen of them, Rangiku just starts dynasty warring their asses.
That's true.
And the Arrancar says, "Well, it doesn't matter," and starts asexually reproducing. Like, he literally starts separating like a cell. Then they get a call from Ikaku and Yumachika, and Hitsugai just says, just kill all of them. Just kill them all. And Ikaku, like, pops a boner, and he's like, "Oh, I love getting such direct orders."
Like, oh my god, the thing is multiplying. I guess the answer is to keep killing them.
Yeah, of course.
We get a bunch of Dynasty Warrior scenes, them all owning hollows. Hitsugai and Rangiku are like, "This shit ain't working. We better cluster them all together using their bad AI and then pop our super to just instantly kill all of them at once."
Yeah.
We have to kite them in a really bad circle until they're all clipping together in one clump. Rangiku carries Soda to the park from earlier, and they're all following him, and they end up trapped by a big tree, and they laugh at them, but it was a trap by the good guys, and Hitsugai fucking erases them with his Shikai.
Yeah.
Like, he creates like a giant castle of ice on top of their shit. Then Yumichika and Ikaku show up, and was like, "Man, that filler shit was boring and dumb." Then Shota gets distracted and runs towards another dead girl on a bench, and that's his sister Yui. And he shakes her a bunch, but she won't wake up. They all go back to Orihime's house, who is still banished.
Yeah.
She is still not allowed to appear in her own home. Shota reveals that he didn't want to get consoed because of his sister, and then we get his sad dead child backstory where his sister was playing an ocarina in the car, and there was a car accident because they got hit by a truck. But we don't get an explanation.
Right.
Like, we don't find out what form this accident took. We just get like a truck driving and like a horror sting. It's like they got hit by that truck that sends you to an isekai.
Yeah.
Yes,
He just comes out of nowhere.
They weren't even in the Bleach world to begin with.
Oh no. Getting Isekai to a Bleach filler arc. Oh, what?
That's
is there
okay.
a worse fate?
It's okay, Bob. They came from that Dragon Ball Z movie.
Damn it.
I died reborn in another world as Jin Karya.
Was this my plan?
He's just shrugging on the fucking title art.
Hitsugaya is like, why did this girl appear when we killed the Hollows? And I'm like, dude, seems like you're way overcomplicating this. Is it inconceivable to you that she was just sitting there?
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, they're ghosts all around. What's so weird about this?
Ukitake calls to explain what's going on. He introduces the R&D guy who's actually here to explain Akon, who is like Mayuri's like third or fourth in command. He has like little like Oni horns and like eyeliner.
He bedazzled his head.
Yeah, pretty much. He's like, this Arrancar makes clones, but every clone is him. They're like an ant colony in a hive mind. So unless you find and kill the main body, you ain't achieving shit. Then they talk about the flute sound a little and then hang up. We found out basically nothing. Ikaku and Yumachika show up with food. Ikaku does his, "Man, convenience stores are great." he goes into that bit again. Hitsugaya says that they need to split up and lure the Arrancar out. Everybody needs to go out and patrol except Rangiku. She's benched to take care of the kids.
Okay, so it was at this point, this specific point, where I went, if I wasn't sold on it being filler before, just how they're using the music during this part of the episode, where they're just like, slap a fucking theme in. It doesn't matter. Fill the fucking space. It doesn't need to match shit. Would convince me, because there is a hard difference between even 2 episodes ago and now.
Ikaku's like, why aren't we doing a console on these children? And Hitsugaya basically says, shut up. But then it's like, no, it's so they can spend time together before they have to go. And I'm like, man, Soul Society sucks.
Yep.
You and your sibling can die at the same time in the same event and be sent to Soul Society at the same time, and still fucking it doesn't work at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they still just dumped that random.
There's some shots of Hitsugaya watching the town. There's a shot of Ikaku running on a rooftop that's really funny because it's like straight on at him. That's the current spoiler image.
Yeah.
It just looks wrong.
Yeah, it does. It looked terrible.
It's just
That's
some
Bleach
other
filler.
bald guy, not him.
Filler. Everybody's doing filler things. Filler. Okay, it's the next evening now.
I thought he was Swedish chef. Filler.
Rangiku's like, oh, what a great bath. I'm gonna go patrol soon. Then Shota has depression, and Rangiku starts trying to inappropriately pry at him emotionally until he fucking gets pissed off and yells at her. Then they hear something from the other room. Yui is gone. We cut to like a dead flight attendant, and the iron car gets her.
Yeah.
Ikaku, Hitsugaya, and Yumichika all run up on a bunch of iron car drones and chase them. A dark cloud in the sky shows what I guess is the real one.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Shota and Rangiku go back to the park, and Rangiku senses something evil. Hitsugaya loses the one he was chasing and finds a scared guy. Does not console them for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason.
And then leaves as it smirks because I guess it was the Aran car and can disguise itself?
I guess.
Maybe? That's what that feels like what it had to be, because as he walks away, the guy like smirks in an ominous way.
This was my plan.
We cut to the park, and Shota and Rangiku find Yui. And they're like, why did you come here, Yui? And Yui's like, I just wanted to come here. And then Shota has like a breakdown that, because I guess he left her here once before. Was it after they were dead?
I assume so.
Which is what you have to do.
It's not really clear, but that's it. That's it. Go home. Everybody leave. Illustrated Guide to Soul Reapers. Let's eat.
What?
That's what they said that time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yumichika asks if it's okay to steal Orahime's house. Rangiku then says that Orihime went to Soul Society?
Oh yeah, because there was that thing in one of the other outros, or over the on the next time, Orihime and Rukia were going to Soul Society. They just did a voiceover.
So I guess,
yeah,
I guess it's a reference to that. That's terrible.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, in the canon dimension.
Rangiku bemoans Orihime being gone, so she can't eat Orihime's cooking. Ikaku and Yumichika are like, we want to eat Orihime's cooking. And then Hitsugaya thinks of all the exact same things from the Eat Something Interesting segment earlier in these episodes, and is like, no, you don't. The end. That's it. Fucking go home.
Yeah.
2 episodes of pure uncut filler.
Wow.
I'm really scared I'm terrified at how long this could potentially be. Is it like 2 more?
It's
Is
gotta
it
be
12?
one.
Like
It's gotta be one.
Is it 12 like the Garlic Jr. arc?
12 of them. What is the weird dog car's master plan? He's hiding in a kennel that blocks spiritual pressure from being read.
I forgot that there was just going to be filler sprinkled throughout this experience.
I didn't know this happened. This is the first I'm running into it, where it's just like, hey, things are fine now. It's great. And I'm like, oh man, I love watching Bleach. And I must have said several times since we recorded the last episode, no, it's good again. It's fine.
This is the absolute worst time to throw in a little filler arc. Because this is, I still remember the feeling reading the manga during this part, where they just stop, look straight in the camera, and go, training arc time.
I would have much rather had that.
Yeah. Like I said, this drugged up some bad memories I had sealed. I don't think this goes much longer, but I don't know. Anyway, we got our segments to do.
That's great.
We start with our best one. Best dressed. Richu, who was the best dressed in this episode? Was it the dog iron car? Anybody want to take that?
You're looking better fine.
But yeah, Chris, you can lead us off.
So in the montage of Rangiku trying on outfits, there is an outfit where she has like a maroon dress and like a sweater over it, like a sweater vest, sweater jacket type thing. It looks nice.
Is that the one
That
with
is
the
my
yellow
selection.
sweater?
No, it's I meant to take a screenshot of it, but I only got a screenshot of the panning shot of it going up. That does not have the entire thing in it, but I will post it. That's what the bottom of it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Oh, thank God.
Dan, you can go next.
Hey, there was a good shirt, Rangiku, good outfit. It was a red jacket, olive shirt, black undershirt, black pants, cool belt buckle that was big, shiny. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I was mortified Chris was going to take that. I'm like, please let me have anything out of these episodes, guys. You already made the filler. Don't take this from me, too. It is genuinely a good outfit. I had to stop and rewind and write down the whole fucking outfit because it was good. It was a good one. I had 2 backups, but that's my favorite.
All right, Dr. Aggro.
Ikaku. Because much more than a shirt, what Ikaku is wearing is manners.
Yes, absolutely.
What the fuck is this shit?
What a trooper.
Fucking educational tape from the 1950s over here.
Also, I think the polka dot kind of worked.
A little bit.
He pulled it off. I guess that leaves me. I'm gonna go with green dress Rukia. I think that the green dress she has when she's picking up Orihime from the daycare is pretty good.
Shout out to the other Rangiku outfit where it's her in the cream shirt sort of thing with the black starry trim and white belt bottom jeans. You know, she's wearing that primarily through that first of the 2 filler episodes. But I like the black starry trim. It's very cute. It works against the cream shirt. And then there was an outfit that was purple. That's all. I just wrote it's purple outfit. I like it, but that's fucking obvious.
Right, of course.
Of course. That's all the segments, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys look forward to when we start doing filler episodes of this podcast where we just recap prior podcasts.
We'd have to, of course. We're in filler. Dan, was this part of Jinkarya's plan?
No, I do not believe this specific filler thing at the end was Jinkarya's plan. It better not be. I'm gonna completely lose what sanity is remaining if
Please,
that was a part of Jinkarya's plan.
I need Jinkarya to show up again. It would save this horrible mini filler arc.
That will break me so much mentally. I will become a Nintendo YouTuber.
He was the thing we saw in the sky.
Go get him, Hellhound. Dun, 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 bum, bum.
Dr. Aggro, what do you think?
Since I can only assume that him having appeared to Ichigo in a dream means that he has become one with the Force and therefore aware of all things, this must necessarily be a part of his plan, which has now merged with the true Tao and is the only way.
Chris.
Yes. Of course it's part of his plan. Everything's part of his plan.
Yeah, you idiot.
Okay, yeah, I have to side with you guys. Obviously, this has got to be his plan. No one else would allow them to animate this in Bleach, right?
His death curse.
He's invaded the real world.
I'm fucking Simon Belmont. Jinkarya died, but gave me fucking terrible, like, wounds. I'm just bleeding at random.
Well, that leads well into the next segment. Dan, how excited are you to continue watching Bleach?
Oh my god.
Now, I have to entertain that they only have one more episode of this shit. There's no way they can keep doing it, right?
Probably.
Please. I'm going to say that I am mildly excited to keep watching Bleach because there can only be one more of this bad, right? God.
So what's that 1 to 10?
I'm gonna give it a fucking 6. The understanding that it'll fucking stop.
All right. Chris, did you bring any trivia for me this week?
Yes, in fact, I have brought to you the true meaning of the title of the series, Bleach.
Ooh.
Many people think that the term bleach is just referring to white, because white is the color associated with death in Japan. This is not true. Bleach is actually meant to be the unsaid release command of Ichigo Zanpakuto, because he doesn't have like a Howl Zabimaru or anything. His was supposed to be Bleach Zangetsu, which is also hinted at by the fact that Hollow Ichigo inside his mind is all white. Is this true or false? Dan.
I'm going with false for one reason. I swear to God, you've already brought in a fake story about why this series is called Bleach. And on that merit alone, I'm saying this one's fake too.
Bob?
I'm going to say this is fake. It seems too put together.
Aggro.
I'm going to say it's fake because I feel like the first volume of the manga had an interview where he said why it's called Bleach, and it wasn't that.
You're correct. I made that shit up.
Yeah.
You almost had us, though.
On a lot of these, when I need something fake, I'm just, what's a fan theory? I'll posit it like it's true.
That's good shit.
Yeah, it's just believable enough. All right, now we need to move on to rate this on our patented tightness scale.
Mm-hmm.
Let me bring up the list of all the scores so we can start looking at it and understand where it should be placed and how tight it is. Chris, how tight were these episodes? 125 through 129, the clearly best series lost.
12.
Jesus.
Like the switch into filler was so sudden and demoralizing
Yeah, it was
that
powerful.
it's hard to overstate. Like we got 18 episodes of real content that still had filler mixed in before we got to this. We hardly got anything.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Oh, I guess I'll go next. Let me see. I feel like 12 is actually really right. Like that's because the first part that isn't filler is not good Bleach content. And then the filler is absolute rock bottom. So you have to like take 10 points off top right immediately. Dr. Aggro.
Okay, I'm sorry. What's the scale for this again?
Oh, it's 1 to 25.
0 to 25.
0 to
0
20.
to 25.
Silly me.
I hate this filler arc so much.
I know.
Yeah, right.
But I have to balance it by how fucking tight that shirt Ikaku's wearing is. In so many definitions of that word. That shirt brings it up to a 9.
Yeah.
What a powerful shirt.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, you get to...
Oh, this is a fucking 10. This is rotten. And it starts off perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, we're all going to do a training arc. And I'm like, okay, this isn't great, but at least we have a good idle speed. And then the engine cuts off. And the car's going 35 miles an hour down the road. Power steering is gone, and I'm just trapped in this hell ride.
Our engine died as we were going up the hill. We're now rolling backwards.
And it's like one of those nightmares I have. The driver's side seat is fully reclined and I can't make it incline. I can't reach the steering wheel, and if I can, I can't see over the dashboard.
Jesus.
It's fucking terrible. These last 2 episodes were like being handed a loaf of bread that was stale and not sliced, and they said, eat it in one bite.
Oh, just like Orihime.
Yes, just like my hero, Orihime.
Thanks for everyone
How could they do this to us?
for coming out.
Everything was fine and good and great.
I didn't sign up for filler. You specifically told me the filler was over.
I'm sorry. It's injected into real meat now. We can't get it out.
Oh.
It's escaped.
God, I feel like future filler that's horribly injected is not nearly as bad. This is way worse than any of that stuff was in Karakura Town, where it was like we're gonna cut over and show Ginta and God, who's Don Kanoji.
Don Kanonji.
Yeah, Don Kanoji has like filler arcs that they jump over to, but none of them are
God.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, those are bad, but at least they're kind of funny. This is the worst. We had one idea. It sucks. Also, you already reviewed a Dragon Ball movie about it.
And technically, Tatsuki was in it, but only for like a flashback, so it didn't really
I
count.
know, yeah. This fucking Aizen on his broken ass CRT watching flashbacks. He's like, oh, it's my favorite show, Bleach. These fucking assholes would repair my VCR. I could watch it more.
Hey, Aizen, you doing okay in your weirdly monochromatic throne room watching videos of a 14-year-old girl?
Yes. Who's asking? Are you the police? Get out of my house. Hey, before you down that jug of bleach, how about you head on over to patreon.com/gbpodcast. You can get the next episode of Chugging Bleach early and help support us doing insane 7-year-long endeavors like watching all of Bleach. We also do many other shows that you can get extras for, and if you ascend to Vastopod Lourdes, you'll even get credit for it on Big Think Dimension, our weekly gaming podcast. If not, that's fine. We'll see you next time you're thirsty for some bleach. This month's GigaBoots videos were brought to you by the continued support of our executive producers, such as Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Burning Pepsi Man, Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, and Virmvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these gamers. If you want to support GigaBoots so we can continue the content crunch, then head on over to patreon.com/GigaBoots today.